Here's a thought that should probably keep a few executives up at night. There's a very real chance your company doesn't actually own its most valuable asset, its own code.
You know the one. Every tech company has it. It's that document your new developers sign during onboarding. They sign it, you file it, and everyone feels secure, right? It's that legal handshake that says, hey, what you build here stays here.
And look, for years, that was totally fine. That single piece of paper really was the bedrock. It's what reassured founders, it's what legal teams pointed to, it's the foundation that billion-dollar valuations were literally built on. It was simple, settled proof of ownership.
But here's the kicker. What if that bedrock is starting to crack? And not from some big, dramatic lawsuit, but from something much quieter, something that happens dozens of times a day in a simple browser tab with a chat window. That's what we're digging into.
So, let's talk about where this problem actually starts. The leak isn't what you think. It's not some shadowy hacker. It's your own developers, just trying to get their work done faster, every single day.
Let me ask you this. In your own company, how many of your employees do you think would admit to pasting confidential code into an AI tool that isn't company approved? Just take a guess. 5%? 10%, maybe? Well, the real answer is pretty staggering.
37%. That's the number from recent workforce surveys. Nearly 4 out of 10 employees admit to doing this. And I'm really emphasizing that word admit for a very good reason.
Because that 37%, that's just what people are comfortable saying out loud. The probable reality is much, much higher, almost certainly over half your team. Think about it this way. On a team of 20 developers, you're not looking at 7 people doing this. You're probably looking at 10 or 11, pasting your core business logic into a third-party tool.
Now, this kind of behavior isn't just a data security issue. It's way bigger. It actually creates a fundamental legal problem for your ownership claims. And it happens in 3 distinct ways that every business leader really needs to understand.
Okay, quick legal primer, I promise. There are 2 main ways you protect software IP. First, there's copyright. That covers the literal lines of code, the text itself. But then there's the trade secret. This is often the really valuable part. It's the underlying idea, the secret sauce. And for it to count as a trade secret, you have to, well, keep it a secret.
And that brings us to threat number 1. Your trade secrets can just evaporate. The law is super clear here. You have to take reasonable measures to maintain secrecy. The second your developer pastes that unique algorithm into a public AI tool without a confidentiality agreement, poof, it's been disclosed. And that legal protection, it's gone. Not weakened, gone. Permanently.
Threat number 2 is kind of the opposite problem. What about all the code that AI is generating for you and being put into your product? The US Copyright Office and others around the world have been pretty clear. If there isn't significant human creative input, you can't get copyright protection. That AI-generated code might not be protectable at all.
And this is where it gets really scary. Some research suggests that up to half the code in some projects is AI-assisted. Just think about that. You're building your business on a foundation that's riddled with uncopyrightable assets. You have these massive holes in your code base that you thought you owned, but legally, you might not.
Now the third threat is the sneakiest. This is how your company's value can silently drain away. Your developer feeds your proprietary code to an AI. The model doesn't just store it, it learns the unique patterns. Then, a few weeks later, a developer at your biggest competitor asks it a similar question. The AI gives them a suggestion that has been shaped by your secret sauce. Your competitive advantage is being redistributed, and you'd never even know it happened.
Okay, I know this can all sound a little theoretical, but this myth of secure IP ownership has a very real, very high price. Let's talk about the moments when these cracks actually get exposed and what it can cost you.
I'm talking about the big moments of truth for any business. An acquisition deal, landing a major enterprise customer, or, worst-case scenario, ending up in a courtroom. In every single one of these high-stakes situations, the first thing that gets put under a microscope is your claim to your own IP.
And this is where it all comes crashing down. If a due diligence team finds out your developers have been using unapproved AI tools, your company's valuation can get slashed. If you can't prove you have clean IP to a major customer, you lose the contract. And if you end up in court, the other side will argue you never took those reasonable measures to protect your assets in the first place.
So what do we do about all this? Well, the most common response from companies is, unfortunately, the least effective one. The key here is to understand that this is not a people problem. It's a systems problem.
Simply writing a new policy and emailing it out is the wrong way to go.
A developer who's dealing with a production server that's down at 11 p.m. is always going to choose the tool that fixes the problem the fastest, not the one that complies with the policy they read 6 months ago. The right way is to give them a new system, approved enterprise-grade tools that are just as easy or even easier to use.
This is probably the most important takeaway of all. Your goal isn't to add friction to the wrong choice. It's to remove all the friction from the right one. When doing things the right way is also the easiest and fastest way, compliance just happens automatically.
And that leaves us with this final question to think about. Is the foundation of your business value a piece of paper filed away in a legal folder, or is it a system that's actually designed for the reality of how developers work today? Because in the very near future, only one of those is going to be truly secure.